Hello Internet and welcome to a Star Citizen video from Havocide. Today we are talking about the latest update around mining that was just released in the Inside Star Citizen video on the official Star Citizen channel. Now this was released on the 23rd of February if you're watching in the future, and this video we're going to be taking a look over because it releases some information about mining that will be coming after the next major release 3.18 in 3.19. So we've got a little bit of time to go before this one releases to us, but it's still new stuff for mining, which, well, anything new for mining is always good. So let's get right down into it over this new information. So starting off, overall, Cloud Imperium Gaming considers that mining itself is in a good state overall for the current state of the game, but they do understand that people do want more from mining, which is understandable because in its current state it is a bit stale, but they also understand and acknowledge that for new players, it can be a difficult profession to actually get into, and that's why they've been working on a lot of changes and updates that will come in with these new features in 3.19. They have confirmed that in 3.19 that they will be going on a very general balance pass for mining overall. So things like modules, gadgets, mining heads, all the sub-items and items that you would use in mining will all have different values, and these will be a lot more obvious in what the perks will be and also the negatives of using certain items over the other. On top of this, minables will also have different values. So, for example, Quantanium and all of the other mineable resources. So, resistances and instabilities will be highly varied compared to what they are now. And literally, the idea here being that with the balance pass of things like the mining heads, you will be needing to match up your mining head with the type of ore that you're going to go and mine. So just to give you an example here, if you have ever played EVE Online and you've been a miner in EVE Online, you will know that in the past that they have had different mining crystals for different ore types. The idea being you would get a bonus for the type of ore if you match them up with the right resource. So they seem to be going along the same general line of thought here. I highly doubt EVE was their inspiration for this, but the process is basically the same. They want people to have some thought into what equipment that they will use and equip on their mining ship so that they get perks from doing so and are actually using the right things instead of just always going for the go-to Lancet MR2. Alongside the balance pass, they are introducing two new resources. One is a ship exclusive mineable, which is iron, and that will be available around, from what they said, around Crusader, more on locations shortly. And then the other is a resource called Genolite, and now they have claimed that this is going to be an FPS exclusive mineable. So you're going to need to go and find caves and go diving into the caves to mine this resource. The idea being that they actually want to attempt to boost people into playing FPS mining because they want to make it more attractive. Their words. So this makes sense. I bypassed mineable FPS gameplay. There wasn't any real need to do it. At the end of the day, I got a cutlass, I rented a cutlass, and I went and rented a rock and went land mining. That was my method of gameplay. I have done FPS mining, but I did that just because I wanted to actually just give it a go, not because I had to. I think this is a way to actually get newer players into mining without the actual necessity of needing to actually make some money somehow and then renting the rock, which is a good thing in my opinion. FPS mining should really be the go-to starting method if you haven't got a rock or a prospector, which most new players won't have. They're going to have a smaller starter ship like the Mustang or the Aurora MR Avenger Titan. So they need to fly to the caves, find the caves, and then mine this new resource. And they claim it's going to be quite profitable for FPS mining. What that entails, no one can say until it drops. But overall, I think this is a good change. Liking this one. Also within the balance pass, they're also talking about having resources with different masses, which kind of makes sense when you think about it. They want gameplay to be more difficult or easier for certain players, so the different resources will have different masses. So as an example, some heavier resources will be harder to mine, so you're going to need to bring friends in those instances. They're saying it won't make single player mining worthless just because things will be harder, or that you can't get things that are not profitable because you can't crack things on your own. They're just saying it will make things more interesting. Overall, I don't think this will be too much of a problem. We'll have to wait and see. But with the changes that they have also made with trading and values of different materials, I don't think this is going to be an issue. More on those values later. They've also cleaned up the resource distribution around Stanton to future-proof the game. Now this, again, all of this makes sense when you think about it. They want better control of the material distribution, so when things like crafting comes in the future, then they have things in place ready to go. They've also grouped up materials into categories. So you've got common category and then like or should we say standard category and then a rarer material category, just so they can actually say what resources come from where. And, they're making it so that you can only get them from certain locations. The example I gave earlier with aluminium being around Crusader, things like copper coming from Microtech are the examples they gave. So again, makes sense. If you've played, again, I hate to use the same example, EVE Online, you have to go to certain places to get certain materials because you can't get it all from one place. Different moons have different moon distribution. It makes sense. They want to future-proof the game. They want to make sure that you have to go and get materials from certain places. This is going to make gameplay as a group good, and it's also going to make you actually have to work to get your materials instead of, let's just go to Lyria and mine Quantanium because it's there. They have said it also will improve asteroid experiences because you will go into asteroids more because it would be more appropriate to have things or a selection of things in asteroids. Their overall intention, however, is just to have it that certain star systems have exclusive materials that you need to go to get certain materials so you can craft items. So travel will be required when crafting is in the game. As mentioned earlier, they did acknowledge that mining is difficult for newer players, so the overall aim is that they've also worked on some mining UI improvements as shown on the screen. They've acknowledged clutter is an issue with the UI and also text readability, and they've worked on improving that by moving certain elements around the UI to make it more consistent, moving some items together. For example, the mining throttle is now next to the mining power charge since, they are related, and that the range bar has been added on the left so you can also see how close you are, the explosion range, and when is a safe distance. On top of this, they've also looked at adding a new UI element, a helper element, which is to show how difficult the rock is when mining. So there will be an indicator for easy, difficult, and apparently they say there will now also be impossible rocks that you won't be able to crack. That will be interesting to see if it's a thing or whether people will try and find a way around it. An uncrackable rock sounds like a challenge if I don't say so myself. Multicrew gameplay will be receiving some changes as well, as they've been hinting at for quite a while now. Now, overall, people that are using multi-crew ships have actually apparently found it quite unsatisfying. I'm fine. I love the m.o.l.e regardless of whether I'm using it in a crew or not, but others are not quite as excited as I am about it. So they want to change this. They want to make multi-crew gameplay more satisfying, and they want to actually encourage you to use things like the m.o.l.e. So the idea that they're implementing here as a lore perspective is that as you are using a ship that is sharing all the same instruments, computer system, lasers, they will synchronize together, allowing better stability than if you was, for example, to use 2-3 prospectors on the same rock. So 3 lasers on a m.o.l.e will be better than 3 lasers of a prospector on the same rock. Basically, they'll punish you if you are using 3 prospectors on the rock, which I guess is a way around it, and it kind of makes sense from a lore perspective. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. I mean, I use the m.o.l.e anyway solo, so it really doesn't make too much difference to me, or at least I hope it doesn't make too much difference to me. But if not, I will have to bring friends, or maybe multi-boxing. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's all to play for when it all comes out. We'll have to see. And last but certainly not least, it was pleasing to hear that they are looking at reviewing the profit margins and rebalancing them overall across the board to make mining profession very profitable and in sync with everything in the game. So what that entails, there was no details given, but the fact that they have done it and are rebalancing in 3.19 is exciting to know, and that hopefully it will mean other minerals and resources will make it worthwhile to mine instead of it just literally be Quantanium. So let's wait to hear about more of that before we get too excited, because who knows how that will go. It's exciting to know anyway. Sadly, there was no information on the RSI Orion or the Expanse, which is a shame, but usually ship information comes later or as a surprise later on down the line, so let's not worry too much about that. Though, let's be honest, it would have been fantastic to hear even about the Expanse, because I mean, like, who doesn't want a mobile refinery in their mining fleet? Because, I mean, I don't know about you, I certainly do, and I would like it right now because, yeah, awesome. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this update video today. If you liked it, then please do hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments your thoughts. Are you excited for these changes? Or perhaps something doesn't quite add up to you, in your opinion? Share your thoughts below and let's discuss it. Thanks for watching another video from me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the verse.